Alright, so welcome to Interpreting Linear Models. This is Target 8B, Day 1. Let's go ahead and look at our learning goals. I can identify the slope of a line given a graph and interpret its meaning in the context of the information given in the graph. I can interpret what the y-intercept of a given graph represents, and I can determine what the best equation for the trend line of a graph would be. Vocabulary, we only have one for this lesson, and that is trend line, which is a straight line or a curve in a trend chart or a scatter plot, that could be the other thing, that indicates the general pattern or direction of a time series data. So what we're talking about here, like a scatter plot, if we have these different points, kind of all over the place, a trend line would kind of make it so that all the points are right around the line, and if you looked at it, it would look like, okay, that kind of shows it. As far as how to determine the slope of a given graph, we have done this a number of times. Remember that it is rise over run. Rise is your vertical change, run is your horizontal change. You could pick any 2 points on the line you want. So if I chose these 2 points, this would be 0, 3, and this one would be 2, 2. Alright, you could either look at it and just say, okay, I'm going down 1 and right 2, so that would, since I went down, it's a negative 1, which would make it negative 1/2, or you could say, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way, the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which would be, if we, let's say we made this y2, y1, x2, x1, I could do 3 minus 2 over 0 minus 2, which would give me 1 over negative 2, which these two are the same, because remember we would just slide the negative sign out front in both these cases. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this. Want to find the slope of this. So one way to do this is to say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start at my y-intercept, which makes a lot of sense. And we have 1989, so this is a year. We're going to go ahead and just say, well, I'm going to go up to the next point because I've got this point on the graph right here. And go from 212 to 214, I went up 2 million, so that's a positive 2 million. And then right, now notice even though it's 2 spaces, that only covers 1 year, so just over 1 year. So that would be a slope of 2. Of course, the other thing you could do is you could say, well, I'm going to do, and it doesn't matter, we've got, even though we have years down here, if I took the points 1989, 212. So you use what you have down here for your x value, and then 1990, 214. You'd still end up with the same thing because you'd have 214 minus 212 over 1990 minus 1989, which would still give you 2 over 1. Describe what the slope means in the context of the problem. Now this is where you've got to kind of read how your axes are labeled and what the title of the graph is. So this is people with health insurance. Your y-axis is number of people in millions, and then of course this is a year. So that 2 over 1, it's 2 million over 1 year. So what the slope means is every year the number of people with health insurance will increase by 2 million people. Or so every year indicates that every 1 year. And what does the y-intercept of the graph mean? Well, in 1989, so this is our year right here, okay, and there's our y-axis, 212, so in 1989 there were 212 million people with health insurance. That's all you're doing is just reading the graph. The only part that really requires any calculation is this up here. Alright, let's take a look at the second example here. We've got a trend line that's been drawn through the scatter plot below, and we want to write an equation that would best represent the trend line. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off trying to find the slope. Or not trying to, we're going to find the slope. Best way to do that is to go ahead and pick 2 points. So I chose this first point here, which is at 340,000, and then my second point up here, which is at, which is at 955,000. So I took my 55,000, subtracted the 40,000, and my 9 minus 3, which gave me 2,500, because you got the 15,000 divided by 6 gives you 2,500. So now I take my slope, and I'm going to plug it back. We're going to use this, y equals mx plus b. All right, we need to find the b now. So what you do is you pick either of those points. I chose the second point, and that is going to be, the 9 is going to go in for the x, the 55,000 is going to go in for the y. So multiply 2,500 times 9, you get 22,500 plus b, and then we've got the 55,000 on the left. Subtract 22,500 from both sides, which gives you 32,500, which gives you your b. So now all you have to do is plug that in. Okay, m, remember this is your m, and here we have, this is our b right here. So we just plug the 2,500 in for m and the 32,500 in for b, and that gave you your answer. That's all you need to do for the equation. So a little bit of computation, but nothing too terrible. All right, if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, please find me in class. Ask me. I will help you understand it. All right, have a good one.